Hello, members. Tom Morrison here from the Metal Treating Institute from Nashville, Tennessee. We're so excited to be here with you today, man. 2022 is right around the corner, and I'm so excited today because we have all the key leadership, all three men that are immediate past president, current president, and the president coming on board in 2 years with you today to kind of unpack just what's going on with Metal Treating Institute and all the great things for the future that we see on the horizon. So real quick, if you want to ask the presidents a question anyway, you go down to the bottom and you click on chat and a box will pop up on your right-hand side. And I've already added up there, hello members, where are you listening from? Would love to have you type your message in there and just tell us where you're listening from. We love to hear where members are at. And so if there's any question and things that we talk about, please put your comments in there and we will get to those questions as we go along. So I want to just talk to you about a couple of happenings that are going on at MTI. Lots of exciting stuff you're going to hear today. So one of the things that we talked about at our fall meeting is there was a great topic on workplace culture. And what came out of that is the studies have been showing in the past that people today, there's such a, I mean, if you're like MTI or anybody on this call, you're having trouble hiring people and finding people. So the big thing that we're learning though is that people aren't leaving their jobs and they're not leaving their companies, they're leaving their bosses. And that's because a lot of people don't have the necessary skills to actually be an effective leader or manager of people dealing with conflict resolution and personality differences and coaching people and empowering them to do their job. And so MTI has this amazing 12 module set to the keys to supervisory skills done by Dr. Richard Marks, who's one of our leading facilitators in our YES program. And they say it's their favorite session of the program. And so we've got that now on video and you can buy that. Normally, if you were to train 6 people in this program, it'd cost you $2,900. But between now and the end of the year, you can get the entire package on a thumb drive with printed handouts and the student handbooks for only $695. One thing I love about MTI is we are committed to getting the right information in your hands at an affordable price that can help your people succeed. So put that on your list and look to do that. We're going to be putting a link on our website so you can buy it right there and it'll be shipped to you within 24 hours. But to get your teams involved in the skills they need to move your people so you don't lose your top and good performers. The other thing we got coming up is we've got a webcast on November 2nd. If you're NADCAP accredited, you're going to be on this November 2nd. We're going to talk about 2 big things on audit advisories and observer fraudulent behavior that NADCAP's taking affirmative action on that can really have a huge impact and really put your accreditation at risk. So you're going to find that out on November 2nd. If you go to our website at heattreat.net and you look on scroll down to the meetings, you'll see the link to each of those meetings and you can register for them there. And then the second meeting is on November 4th. We're seeing good things from our sales forecasters in our next quarterly sales forecasting meeting is going to unpack heat treat sales and the 8 industries that drive heat treaters and sales. That's going to be happening on November 4th at, I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern time, but all the information is on those meeting sites at heattreat.net. Those are 2 amazing things you're not going to want to miss. And then the third thing is we launched, everybody in hiring people needs to tell the heat treat story. What is heat treating? What is the impact of heat treating? And most importantly, why would you want to work in the heat treat industry? Well, we just launched at our fall meeting in San Antonio 2 weeks ago, heattreatcareers.com. This is a site that's got video stories in there that really tell the story, and it's got actually a link to a lot of our members who have heat treat plant videos so they can actually see individual members to see what plants are like. But we built that site and an arena for you to link onto your site so you can have on there looking for a career in heat treating, click here to see how awesome it is. And they can click that and the work's already been done for you. And then they, hopefully you can have underneath that, if you'd like a potential opportunity, here's the number to contact or the email to link us. But make sure to go out to heattreatcareers.com and check that out. It's a great new tool digitally to put on your website to draw people in to tell the story of why come work in heat treating. But now that's, like I said, there's so much going on in the world of MTI for your benefit. And so I want to now give each of our presidents an opportunity to take 30 seconds to introduce themselves just to you, the membership. So Jim, let's start with you as immediate past president.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Oakes from Super Systems, your immediate past president as of last 2 weeks ago.
And that's a 2-year reign, Jim. So I mean, I think that's one of the first times I've ever had a 2-year president. Actually, I think it's the 7th one we've had. So it was great having you there. Appreciate all your service.
Yep, my pleasure.
So Mr. Don, the current president, introduce yourself. Oh, you're muted, Don. There we go.
Thank you. Yeah, I was able to take the gavel from Jim on stage in San Antonio a couple of weeks ago, and looking forward to this year at MTI. It's been great serving 2 years alongside Jim, and I'm at Pinson Valley Heat Treating Company, and we're in Birmingham, Alabama.
Awesome, Don. We appreciate you stepping in that role. And now, Jim, you're coming up. You're President-elect. 2023 is going to be your year. Tell everybody about Mr. Jim Orr.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Orr from Penna Industries in Zelian-Opal, Pennsylvania, and I'm looking forward to working with Don for the next year. It's been great working with Jim Oakes for 2 years, and hopefully by the time I take over, we can say goodbye to these things.
Absolutely. Right on, man. Well, here's the fun thing. As MTI got back into our live meetings in January of this year, and we had our spring meeting and our fall meeting, and members were just so excited. So before I jump into some of the things I want to cover, let's just start there. Don, is somebody that comes to these meetings as president looking forward, I want to get each of your thoughts on what it was like to be at an MTI live meeting this year.
Well, it's like you said, Tom, the one in Amelia Island, you could just feel it that, some people are just so glad to be back and seeing the friends that they know from MTI and being able to meet. And of course, the weather was great, and everything went really well. The MTI staff did a great job planning. Things were safe, and we had a wonderful meeting. It was great to see old friends and make a lot of new ones.
Well, Jim Oakes, I know. I mean, your first year as president, the president usually has all this pomp and circumstance, and just some great things of being president at the meetings, emceeing everything. And your first year, you got nothing. and the board, I really think, felt that as a part of, we wanted to keep the leadership consistent for another year in the midst of all that change. But so what were you feeling as president, having gone through the cancellation of meetings and then getting a chance to host the 2 meetings?
Well, thank you, Tom. Well, I mean, really, I still got a lot out of it. There was a tremendous amount of benefit. Just all the activities that we had during the first year, with all the changes and the pivoting that we had to do relative to the meetings, the live meetings and such, of course, the F&A as well. There's been a lot of momentum, and the meetings are a big part of that. The networking that MTI has is second to none. We have an opportunity to meet with business professionals that are managing this have the same problems or the same challenges every single day. So it's wonderful to get together with everybody, and there's no better place to do it than face to face. And I felt that same as Don did. Really felt that energy, and I've been very fortunate to be part of that meeting, the MTI Midwest chapter meeting, the golf outing, and of course then down in San Antonio. So it's been great to get back to the face to face and get rid of the 2-dimensional Jim Oakes and shake some hands and see everyone. So
absolutely, I would appreciate that. So Jim Orr, you were there as Jim and Don was for the whole entire thing where Jim said the key word. We pivoted so many ways. So what was your experience with the live meetings? But what did you experience when you saw how we pivoted from nothing to now going back to where we try and get to?
It was just the coming out of the dark cloud was over us for a long period of time. When you can get out there and see people, it's just so much nicer. You can only do so much on the phone, text, emails, and Zooms, but the personal contact, you've got to be there. You've got to see the people one-on-one, and you really get to know people. And as Jim Oakes said, we had a good time. And we've had 2 meetings now this year, and they've both been a great success. And being live it's just the way to go.
Now, Jim Oakes, you just turned over the gavel to Don, and a lot of things happened in your 2 years. What kind of momentum do you feel like MTI has built running towards 2022? Because my goal of today was to really connect with members on here's where we've been running, and we're really running hard at 2022 to make it one of the best years we've ever had.
I think one of the things that we found, because we weren't having the live meetings, was providing data points back to the members. And we did that with the check-ins, and that was a huge success. We had great feedback from the membership about seeing that. But just things like the quarterly forecasting or the monthly sales data, our technical standards committee, really providing that information and getting it out to the members. I feel like we've done a great job. We kind of capitalized on, okay, we can't go out, we can't see people. Let's continue to bring this information out to the membership. And of course, we'll take advantage of the live meetings when they're present, but we'll still continue to build all that information. So that's really where I feel that we've done a great job. Things like electrification of vehicles, what the labor market looks like, demographics, all of those things are really, really relevant today and 10 years down the road. So that's what's important to our members. And that's the kind of data points I think that we're bringing forward.
Well, you know, you mentioned the weekly check-ins. That was such a dynamic thing through COVID. I mean, people would submit questions to us and we would ask the membership, because what I know talking to members is when you're in the grind every day, the number one thing people feel is alone. And they feel alone in their plan. And the moment you can get data that shows that 62% of people feel just like me and are going through the same thing, all of a sudden there's this huge relief factor. So we've actually extrapolated that weekly check-ins now. Now we've been doing them. This is our 9th week doing the weekly check-ins on questions that members are submitting to us to put out to the membership. And I had someone that I didn't think was very engaged in MTI at the NADCAP meeting, and he came to me and says, Tom, I got to tell you, I am loving the weekly check-ins. That's given us really big data that we need to know on a weekly basis about what other members are thinking and what they're doing. So anybody listening to this, when you get these weekly check-ins on Monday, please jump in and answer them. When you answer them, guess what you get? You get to see, as soon as you click your answer, you get to see the results from the previous week's question. So it's really good stuff to be doing every single week. And we've actually engaged our benchmarking committee to be analyzing and submitting questions to us that they feel would be relevant to members. So another great little thing that came out of COVID that we started. Now, so let's look here. So Jim, as we move through this year, I'm sorry, let's go to Don. Don, your year as president this year, what do you expect, in your terms, what would you like to see MTI keep its perspective and focus on for the next 12 months when you're looking at members?
Well, I think so many of the things that y'all just went through is what comes to my mind. And I think MTI does so many great things. We just need to stay the course. Keep doing those things that we do well, that the members find value in. And I've had a list of some things here, providing us with current information, our industry, economic trends, cost of labor, utilities, and those weekly surveys. I gotta agree. I mean, those are like right at the moment, the things we're dealing with, and we see what other people are thinking. What are costs going up in all across the North America? The high quality training through the online academy and the YES programs, keep those going, and those keep getting better and better every year. We've invested a lot more into the online academies that I think people will see the results of very soon. I guess now, I think that is current.
Yeah, within the next couple of weeks, the new stuff will be hitting the marketplace.
Okay, looking forward to that. Uniting our members together where we can pool information, as Jim said, with the labor numbers, or pay what we're paying for different people, the pay and benefits, key metrics. The industry consultants, we just went through at the last board meeting, a review of our industry consultants, making sure that we're providing the current team of industry consultants. And I just used one this last week that has just been unbelievably helpful to us in Dan Herring. And finally, and this, to me, I guess this is the most important thing. And as you said just now, don't be alone. And you're never alone in MTI. And that's what makes us MTI strong. And every time I've ever called an MTI member with a question or a need, they've helped me in every way they could. And I'm always excited if somebody's calls me and I'm able to help them in any way. And I think that is, all these other things are great, but those relationships and being able to pick the phone up and call somebody and know that they're gonna do everything they can to to get you the help you need. That is, to me, one of the biggest benefits of MTI.
You know, I heard a saying a few weeks ago from a person talking about how their association runs. And I thought it was so awesome what he said, because it really helped me relate why I think it stands true in MTI. Most people, almost all people, join MTI for the benefits, but they stay for the people. And I thought that, I mean, you go to a national meeting, you just can't help but see that over and over. And you mentioned the weekly check-ins. Here's a big number that I think that even the suppliers, I see the number of suppliers on here. One of our weekly check-ins asked the members, when you look at your 22 budgets, what level of equipment purchasing are you going to be looking to make? And about 15% said that they're going to do none. About 40% said they're going to do minor upgrades and accessories and stuff. But 42% said they're going to make significant purchasing decisions on equipment in 2022. So suppliers, you heard it right here. We'll be posting that out in our associate suppliers forum soon, so people see that. So that's really big deals for them to think through and look forward to in 2022. So Jim Orr, your presence, you're gonna have a nice ride. You just moved from being the money guy, the treasurer, to now being the person that's going to be stepping into presidency in 2023. What are you looking forward to, and what's your excitement level as a member of the Metal Treating Institute?
Well, Tom, I'm looking forward to, working more closely with the members, getting their input, their participation. We need that information and that data from all across the country. We are blessed with a wonderful board of people. We've got some great new people coming up on the board, and it's very exciting because it's a constant evolving process, and without member input participation, we need it. We need everybody chiming in and helping us to steer this ship. Jim Oakes went through some very, very challenging times, and as we move forward, who's to say what's going to happen in the next 12 to 24 months? But it's so encouraging, when you just said 44% of people are looking forward, they're going to spend money next year. I mean, it makes us all know that we're all in this together. And it's, as Don said, we all work together and we benefit from it.
Awesome, Jim. I appreciate that. So Jim Oakes, going to you. I mean, we just came from the NADCAP meeting, and lots of fireworks going off at the NADCAP meeting, right? I mean, they're talking about, and our technical standards committee that you're very involved with has been doing some great things, especially monitoring ASTM, CQI-9, AMEC, who does all the aerospace standards, and NADCAP. So kind of unpack a little bit from your perspective, what's really big. I mean, technical standards committee is having a big impact on the quality departments, because why? Because they're monitoring, reporting, and fighting for the hearts of that stuff in each of those meetings. So kind of unpack your thoughts on the technical standards committee and what's it's doing for the members.
Yeah, sure. So first, I want to say Ed Engelhart and Bob Perry have been doing a great job. They chair that, or they're co-chairs on that standards committee. But it's not just them. There's a team behind them, and then it's all the participants. And as you said, Tom, at the NADCAP meeting last week in Pittsburgh, there was a show of force from the MTI membership, whether it be owners or quality managers or the management team that's involved. It was fantastic. And what's important to everybody is to make sure that things are fair and well thought out. And having a voice at the table is exactly what this organization is doing for heat treaters, whether it's AMEC and coming up with some of the AMS specs, or just being at the NADCAP meeting and having a voice when it comes to changes that they might do during the audit process. Rest assured that there's a group that's thinking about that and taking that input. So strength in numbers, and there's a lot of people within the MTI organization that are passionate about it, for their own businesses. But I tell you, it makes a difference when we have events that are geared towards a voice for the commercial heat treater. It's fantastic. So, and I thanks to all the businesses that support the quality managers and the management team that end up going there, because it absolutely makes a difference, and it gives them reference to other people to ask the same questions. Which we had a networking event, and I tell you, it was so well attended by the membership. So.
Yeah, I mean, MTI, probably the last 10 years has really built a financially healthy, sound association. We're so strong, and we have a fair amount of money that we have in reserves to help us do these things. And what I love about the board is they're not scared to spend money. And before, the board didn't have the money to take risk. Now financial issues and budgets aren't exactly an obstacle when we say, look, we need to spend $8,000 on this industry meeting to do this. And so we plopped $8,000 in the budget 2 years ago, and we've been actually hosting a 90-minute meeting before NAGCAP starts on site to give members a chance to talk about the issues at NAGCAP and really kind of come together. And then we do on the second night, we do a 2-hour reception that really gives them another level to talk intimately. And what I love about it is quality managers some quality managers come to these meetings and they're not as attuned to what MTI offers and that, because the owner hasn't connected them in. But when they come to that meeting, I met 3 new people that were within a year of their job, and they had not really understood MTI. When they left, they said, Tom, we are so thankful that we have been able to tap in to these other quality managers and owners that we can help together. And it was a really big comment that one member told me. They said, Tom, I have never felt so confident, even though we didn't get everything we wanted. I've never felt so confident and so strong as an industry as I did this meeting, because you could see the members, like you said, coming together as a show of force to really help move the needle to give a voice to the heat treaters in that process. And that's true in CQI 9. When you go to an AMEC meeting where they actually write the aerospace specs, I've been working for years to get about half the room be commercial heat treaters. Well, that's happened. And now we're very lucky that Roy Atkins, our member from Braddock Metallurgical, their quality assurance manager, he's now the chair of the committee. So now we've got a big voice in there to try and really make sure that the aerospace specs are fair and reasonable in the area of quality. So just great things happen there. Now, so Don, you're now president, as a business owner, I mean, they're talking $200 barrel gas. Potentially, Buster Crosley, one of our past presidents, emailed me a note saying, Tom, did you see this headline? I mean,
Wow.
$200 a barrel of gas, depending on how, natural gas prices going up, depending on the winter, just because of how things have run out. What do you think are some key things that members, when they're thinking through the uncertainty, that they should really be thinking about how they can tap into MTI? Because we have a plethora of resources, and all it takes is a phone call or an email.
Yep.
Our website has everything on it you can get your hands on.
Well, and I think we've gone through a lot of those things, just to reiterate all those different programs that we have. And as we were talking about going through the 2020 year, the first year of Jim's presidency, who could have predicted that? And we couldn't sit here today and predict what we're going to foresee in 2022. But whatever it is, MTI is going to pivot. I heard y'all talking about, we pivoted here, we pivoted there. MTI is going to move and put resources to wherever that need is. The thing that I thought about is that there's a lot of information out there. We may read the Wall Street Journal or go out online and just read all kinds of things. Those things are great. But the thing about MTI is none of those other things are keyed toward our industry. Correct. And MTI gets that information and sifts it like the ITR economics. And we get what, if we went out as individual companies, would cost us thousands and thousands of dollars, many times what our membership to MTI is, to just get that information. And MTI gets that information and tailors it to the industries that we serve. So we can get that. But in the information I get is what I would call street level information for heat treaters. And that it is when you get that information from other heat treaters and from the MTI office and our consultants, you can use that today at a very practical level. That's the difference in, I think, the information I get from MTI and what I can find out there in the rest of the media.
Awesome. So Don, really to go back to another question, we talked about national meetings a little bit of the what's there. What is the why? I want to actually hear this from each of you. What is the why? Everybody listening on this, members and people that listen to it in the future, what is the why that you should be at an MTI national meeting? I mean, we traditionally get around 180 people to a meeting, and we'd love to see that meeting just kind of get in the 200s, but why should people be there in your opinion?
Well, in the meetings we've had this year at Amelia Island and San Antonio were awesome, and we had a lot of people there. But I would say the more if you're listening to this and you haven't been to that meeting, please come, because if we have 160, if we could have 260, it's going to be exponentially better because you're there. And, I was thinking, Janice and I have I think back on all the 30 something years that I've been involved in MTI and going to these meetings and all the wonderful places we've been. And that's great. But, we got a great program committee, Deidre Minard and her team over the years. And I know Jim Orr was involved in that. And we've upped the budget. As you said, the board is willing to put money where there's value. And we've really put money toward bringing higher end speakers in that bring value. And I'm always coming back with great ideas from those. But the best value I get is, I was thinking about this, I thought about it in San Antonio, the free time that we've got, outside of the events and the scheduled stuff. And I was thinking about when a bunch of couples, one day we had a free afternoon and walked down to the Riverwalk and went out to lunch and sitting around, eating some Tex-Mex and enjoying some Dos Equis. And a bunch of us guys were just knocking around some problem that I was having, actually, with some carburizing issues. And man, we're sitting there, and the wives are talking about, I don't know what they were talking about, but we were talking about carburizing and just all this stuff, and just had the best brainstorming session you can imagine. And I was thinking back on what the value of that trip, and I mean, where else could I get that? Where else could I sit there and eat lunch with the knowledge that was around that table and get the feedback that I did from those guys? It was outstanding.
Well, having been around a lot of executives and meeting planners I think a couple of things that give our meetings really big high value is we only meet for half a day, and in that half day, it is high level, high value content developed by the education committee. So you get it for half day. You get the rest of the day, you get to hang out and do just what you did, unpack that about how to solve a problem. You get an open middle night and this is something I think many people don't mention much, and some of them are on this call, is that the heat treaters they're not meeting and greeting with the sales reps of each of the companies. They're meeting with the presidents and CEOs of the suppliers. I mean, there's so many presidents and CEOs where you get to hear the big visions of those suppliers and how they can help you. And it gives the suppliers at the top level a chance to hear the needs of the heat treater. So, and so there's a lot of time to do to refresh your perspective. And here's the other cool thing that you mentioned, the wives and the spouses, whether male or female. Literally 60 to 70% of the people that come to an MTI meeting bring their spouse. And we always do a really cool connecting event for the spouses. And they're so well connected, almost more connected than the members. So members can afford to bring their spouse and not have them in a hotel room all the time. They can kind of connect in and get them involved as well at the spouse level. But those are great comments, Don. Now, Jim Oakes, what about you? As a supplier, what do you think is important to be involved in the meeting?
Well, I mean, exactly what Don said. From a supplier standpoint, it would take months and thousands of dollars to see all the customers that we get to spend time with at an MTI event. So it's extremely high value when it comes to just being there. And it's just a relationship that you have an opportunity to create. You're probably not engaging in anything from a business standpoint, but it's the relationship that you have to help somebody solve a problem later, or to get to know somebody so you can approach them at a later date for something. So, it's really fantastic. The other thing is too, the education committee has done a great job with the content. It's all relevant. Right. It doesn't matter who you are, what level in the business that you're in, whether you're part of the Yes Group or a business owner, there is content there for everybody. And you can't take away everything and use it all, but there's always bits and pieces out of every meeting that I think that the attendees can take away and put to work for them to see if it works or doesn't work. And I'll just throw one more carrot in there for the spouses and the guest event. We always have an event, and it's always a different one. And for those that like to give back to a community, the last two that we did were really awesome because we were able to give back to the Children's Hospital and then to a retirement home prior to that. And that's just a great way to bring the guests together and have a nice event while we're in the room learning about different business characteristics or intel. So
those are awesome too. I know Karen was very pleased with those. Go ahead, Don.
Hey, just to piggyback on that, I was thinking, just what an asset my wife Janice has been at these MTI meetings, because at those events that you're talking about, Jim, or just down at breakfast, or I don't know where she comes across this, but I'll come out of the business meeting and we're going to lunch. Next thing I know, she's met 3 or 4 other ladies, and now all the couples are going to lunch, and I'm getting to meet the husbands. People, I think of some of my best friends in MTI now is because of Janice made that connection for
right.
me. And so, when you come to these meetings, bring your spouse, because, that sometimes is the best network, and I get through connections Janice helps me make.
They're the ultimate connectors for sure. Now, Don or Jim Orr, anything that hasn't been said that you really think is important for people to really understand about being at these meetings?
Sure. A short story. Years ago, Jim would go to an MTI meeting and everybody said, oh, Jim went on vacation. Well, now that we have multiple people through the YES program and we do bring people to the meetings, they found out very quickly it's not a vacation. There's a lot of good information that is shared. And the more people that we have in our company, it's now I don't have to go back and give the message. They go back and give the message, and the team is really benefiting from it.
That's awesome. Now, Jim Orr, I know your passion is the MTI Educational Foundation, which is giving away a fair amount of scholarships and stuff. Talk about how that has really kind of bled into the MTI meetings as well, and what they're doing.
Well, when we started the program, the foundation years ago, Doug Peters, Morris, Lance, it had a vision, and that vision is now growing. That vision has grown now to give out 45 scholarships and counting. So you've got 45 people out there now talking to people, and it's growing. It's kind of like we're stocking the pond out there. More and more people, they're growing. They're hoping that they can come in and join our field. But we have to work together and do that. We've given them the money. They're in school. We need to start tracking them and start going to them. We now have the new website to look for jobs. These kids can now go on. They can choose a state. They can find a heat treater or associate supplier in that state. But that's where our members, we need to continue to grow that, continue to get more people involved. I went to one of the local guidance counselors that does a lot of work for a lot of the schools, and she looked at me and she says, they don't know you're out there. They don't see you. They have no idea who you are. You need to do a better job telling these kids more about heat treating. And I think the MTI has done a phenomenal job with that, with the videos. We just need to get the message out there.
Yeah, and I think that was really the push behind our Next Gen committee to really work on getting a tool like Heat Treat Careers that any member could email to their local high schools, guidance counselors, college technical schools, to really tune people in as to why this is a great industry, what the impact is, and what it is. So I think that's a great flow for that. Now, Jim Oakes, Don mentioned the YES program. And I know you were a graduate of the YES program back when we reignited it in 2007 or 8, and so that has been a massive value to the heat treat community. Most associations and companies are having a challenge moving from the younger generation into the leadership. And MTI hasn't had that problem since 2007 when we kicked off the YES program, and now the program sells out almost 2 years in advance. So share from an owner who sends people as well as a graduate, just your perspective on that and why people should really be looking at that.
Well, we know how challenging the labor market is right now. So when you invest your money into an employee, that pays dividends long term. Mm-hmm. They recognize what that value is. So that's number one. So they recognize that you're making that investment in that individual, and you're looking for a long-term employee. Obviously, you're doing that based off of putting them through the program. It also gives each of those individuals an opportunity to connect with others in the industry. which I think is just the best. I'm spoiled because I get to see all kinds of different facilities everywhere. The fact that these individuals get to go to other plants, see other facilities, and the way that they do things, just to open up their minds, is priceless. And that's the feedback I get from everybody. I mean, there's lots of great things that come out of that, but now they not only have seen something different in the way somebody does their operation, but they also have a contact.
Right.
And so not only is it opening their eyes to ways that you can do things differently, but it's the contacts. And I haven't even talked about the content that's
Right.
provided in the YES program. So that's where I think it's extremely valuable for these individuals, young or old. It doesn't
Wow.
matter. We say young, but it's any age.
What I love sitting the first night at the YES program in February and listening to the talks, what I hear so much is, you struggle with that too? You're having that problem? That's the first thing because we do have some presidents of companies that come through the program, which is awesome, but most of them are first tier, second tier supervisors and managers. And what they begin to understand is like I go back to, you're not alone in this thing, in the daily grind. There's now this team that can help you because they understand what you're going through. So thanks for those comments. So Don, I want to click on training real quick. So a lot of people struggle with, a lot of our members just put people in training and they get their certificates and that's kind of where it stops. But you did something really cool to connect the dots of what you're learning with how to make it happen in the plant. So unpack that to share in line with people listening, how they can really do that as well.
Yeah, this was just something real simple because we did that same thing. We'd have people go through and an individual would take a course and somebody else would be taking another course. And a few times we've gotten together and we've gotten a group of maybe 4 or 5 people taking the same course at the same time. And that's worked out really well because they go through it together and they kind of get together at lunch or, wherever in the hall and talk about what they were seeing. Or if they got a question, they might talk about it. And then we'll get together at the end of that, instead of them just taking it and they make better than a 70 on a multiple choice. And they go on with life. I want to make sure that they connect the intellectual and scientific knowledge in that course to what do we do here at Pinson Valley Heat Treating. And so we meet together for a couple lunch and learns and talk through that, go through the whole course, and just make sure they see what they studied and where out in our plant does that actually take place. And that's just added so much to, I think, the connecting the dots for all the people that take it. And it's been fun for me to have that interaction with them.
Well, see, what I think is so powerful about that, in a time when the market is so tight for labor and you don't have the new inflow of people, giving your employees the power of knowledge to be able to make decisions on their own. And the more they have here, the more they can think like a heat treater, the more they don't need management and the more they don't need help. That makes them more productive and efficient, which means that you can operate on less people and push more product through. So I think what you're doing there, and that's kind of what we've done with the management training. The way we're setting up the management training, we've got the special on. We are so passionate to get one of these in the hands of every member that wants to buy it. But you take the program, it includes books for 6 people, and every one of them watches a video at a certain time, and then you get your 6 managers together and you talk about what did you learn, where do you think we have gaps, and what can we implement to do better at managing our people and empowering our employees. So, and do that as like you said, a lunch and learn. So that's kind of our concept behind that. So I appreciate those comments. So gentlemen, we're coming around the corner here, and what I'd like each of you to do is really share just what's one thing you would say to anyone watching this video, whether now or in the future. What's one thing that you encourage them about looking forward over the next 12 to 24 months of tapping into MTI? And because here's what I know. I talked to our ITR economics people, and off the cuff, we were talking about where's the net, because they're saying that between now and 29, we're going to see a fairly significant growth in the economy, which includes our industry. But somewhere there's going to be a checkup where it's going to be a dip. And we thought it was going to be in 23, which is what they were saying earlier. But with the way things are going, they've extended that out to 2025, which means between now and 25 is going to be pretty robust. So knowing that, what would you say to people listening in? But that doesn't come without challenges, because you still have the labor challenges and the potential gas volatility. what would you say to members of what they need to really be encouraged with the next 12 months? Start with you, Don.
Yeah, I think it is just be engaged in MTI. You know, there's so much here, and the world is changing, and MTI is reacting to those changes and trying to get things to our membership. So be engaged, and whether it's coming to meetings, which I wish everybody would come to a meeting. There's a lot of people that don't, but there's other ways to be engaged. Just being on this. So, I mean, if you're on this today, thank you, because you're engaged, and you know, just be engaged, be involved, and I would say in 33 years of me being in MTI, I get the most out of it when I'm engaged and involved. And so I would just encourage everybody to make a resolution this year to do that.
Awesome. Jim Oakes.
Tom, you said it before, you're not alone. And not just all the data points that the MTI provides, whether it's sales forecasting and the ITR reports, but the member check-ins, and it really kind of dovetails into what Don was talking about, is stay engaged with members.
Awesome.
That's the benefits.
Awesome. Jim Orr.
Invest your time in the ITR reports. I used to look at it and say, oh, I'm too busy to attend an ITR meeting at 2 o'clock. I'm too busy. Well, now there's no excuse. The next day, I can watch it the next day. I can forward it to my key people. They can see it. The salespeople can see it. If the numbers are good, they're happy. If the numbers are bad, they need to know. We've got to deal with it. That you just take the next ITR, whenever it is, and invest your time and watch it.
Awesome. Well, members, thank Don, Jim, and you and Jim, and for y'all's time to be here. Thank y'all for attending. I just want to make this promise you and this guarantee. If you're wondering, you got your business and you're wondering how can we leverage MTI's resources for your benefit and your good, my team is available at any point in time with an open schedule to do a virtual call with you. Members love just a 15-minute call. Many times they'll go, man, I didn't realize that was the information in and that I could get it so easily by participating. You text me or you call me at 904-249-0448, extension 103, or you just email me. You go to our website and can contact us. Our information's all there. Connect in with us. The things that we have will transform your business for the future so you can get the most of that profit, because that's what we're trying to do, is earn productivity and profit the next 10 years. As ITR says, we're going to have the biggest growth in our history. So gentlemen, thank you very much. Members, we love you and we care about you, and you're not just strong. You know, I always say this, you're MTI strong. Do not forget that. We'll see you next time on MTI Live Webcast. Have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.